Hi guys, welcome back. We're going to talk today. Oh, I forgot to write the lesson number. Sorry about that. We're going to talk today about lesson number 34. If you're following along at home, Algebra 3rd edition, Algebra 1/2, or Pre-Algebra, I guess you could call it. It is on page 112, and we're going to be talking about mixed numbers and adding those and talking about rates. Okay, so let's launch right into this, guys. You need to be taking notes to make sure that you have something you can go back and refer to. First things first, example number 1. Let's launch right into it. 2 3/4 plus 3 1/8 plus 7 1/2. Okay, so the easiest way to do these, you used to probably have been told, like, turn it into an improper fraction, add them all up, and then turn it back into a mixed number. You could do that if you want. Totally fine. Personally, I think it's easier if you rewrite these. We're going to write them vertically, and we're going to deal with just the fraction bits. Okay, for our fraction bits here, our common denominator is going to be 8. So I'm going to multiply that times 2, and this times 4 times 4. So I'm going to rewrite these guys right here. 2 5/8, 3 1/8, and 7 4/8. All right, let's deal with just those fraction bits first. 5, 6, 10. So I get 10 out of 8. 10 out of 8. Now, if I were to, let's first reduce that. If I divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2, I get 5 over 4. 5 over 4. Let's turn that into a mixed number. That's going to be 1 1/4. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 gives us 5, and we always keep the same denominator. So all this fraction bit is 1 1/4. Right here, dealing with the whole numbers, those solid numbers, we get 12, right? So what we have is 12 plus all the fraction bits, which are 1 1/4, which equals 13 1/4. 13 1/4. I personally think that's easier than doing like a mixed number, or I'm sorry, an improper fraction, because it's a lot of excess multiplying. So let's check the next one out. For example, number 2, 500. Oh, see, here's why. So for example 2, we have 528 1/3 plus 7,142 3/4. See, you don't want to be doing those, right? You're gonna be like multiplying, can't be bothered. 1/3 plus 3/4. I'm dealing with just those fraction bits right now. Our common denominator is gonna be 12. So multiply that by 4 times 3 times 3. I get 4 twelfths. Can't talk, plus 9 twelfths equals 13 twelfths. Let's turn that into a mixed number. That is going to be 1 1/12. 12 times 1 is 12, plus 1 is 13. All right, so then we deal with all this guy over here. You can totally use a calculator even if you want to. So if we do that, we get 7,142. Enter that onto a calculator, we would end up with 7,670 plus 1 1/12. 1 1/12. That means our final answer is 7,671 1/12 and 1/12. Just like that. All right, guys, that's dealing with adding mixed numbers. Just deal with your fraction bits and then worry about your whole numbers later. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is rate. And the most common rate you are probably familiar with is driving down the highway, right? You go like 65 miles per hour, right? So we look at this and we do 65 miles per hour. Okay, so the reason why I'm talking about this one is 65 miles per 1 hour. So guys, the word per means divide. So 65 miles per 1 hour. Do you notice I have a fraction here? A fraction is a ratio, right? A ratio. So let's talk about some of these problems and how to apply that. This is going to be example number 3 for this lesson. Waldo bought 5 toys for $40. 5 toys for $40. What is the ratio in dollars to toys? Ratio of dollars to toys. Okay, for that one, the ratio is written as a fraction and the dollars comes first, so we want to put that up there. It's $40 per 5 toys. Now, what I want is the unit ratio or the unit rate, and that is going to be So we want to reduce this all down, right? 40 out of 5. If I divide the top and bottom by 5, I get 1 toy and $8. It's just reducing that fraction, okay? Now, the next one asks us, B, what is the ratio of toys to dollars? Guys, it's really important that you're reading these correctly to make sure that you get the proper ratio. So the ratio for toys to dollars is going to be, make sure I'm writing that. Yep. 5 toys and $40, right? It's going to be the same thing. We're going to be dividing or reducing this fraction. If I divide the top and bottom by 5, did I say 8 in the last one? I think I did. Oh, well. 1 toy over $8. $8, because I'm dividing the top and bottom by 5, right, to reduce that. So that's all a ratio is. It's finding how much that's going to be. So let's do the practice on page 113. All right, go ahead and pause, do the practice, come on back and make sure you get it correct. All right, so 2 1/5 plus. Now it's written horizontally, but I'm gonna write it vertically because I think that's a little easier. Again, I want to deal with just the fraction bits first, right? So I'm gonna use my common denominator. That's gonna be 2/10 and 1/10, which gives me 3/10. Nothing to do there, so I'm just gonna add these guys. Oh. So that's going to be 5 and 3/10 because I've got this right here, which reduces down to 5. All right, so then for B, 472 and 2/5 and 312 and 3/4. Add those together. Let's deal with just the fraction bits. Again, our common denominator here is we're gonna have to multiply them together. So we get times 4 times 4, 3/4 times 5 gives me 8/20 and 15/20. If I add those guys together, what I get is 23/20. Now we can turn that into a mixed number. That's gonna be 1/20 with 3 remaining. So we come back over here. Let's add this up. 4, 7, 8, and 7. 784 plus all this bit we decided is 1 3/20, which means our new answer is going to be 785 and 3/20. 705 and 3/20. All right, for C, we are going to do Roger could travel 48 yards in 6 seconds. What was his rate in yards per second and what was his rate in seconds per yard? So 48 yards per 6 seconds. Oh, looks like an 8. Per 6 seconds. Okay, so we want the ratio in yards and then the other way around. Yards to seconds and then seconds to yards. So the first part of that is going to be, we've got to reduce this fraction. If I divide both the top and bottom by 6, I get 8 yards in 1 second, right? So the rate, the way you would write this is 8 yards per second, right? My S's and C's are looking like 8s there. All right, then the next question asks us, what about seconds per yards? The way that that would work is 6 seconds over 48 yards. We're going to reduce just the same way, but this time it's going to say 1 second per 6 yards. Per 6 yards. And so you'd write that as 1/6 second per, or you could write it even just seconds per yard. Seconds per yard. Okay, so any questions on those, let me know. Looks like we've got one more. So D. All right, for this guy we have 8 apples can be purchased for $2. What is the rate in apples per dollars? So 8 apples for $2. We're gonna reduce this down. So that's, if I divide both the top and bottom by 2, I would get 4 apples per $1. So 4 apples per $1. The way you would write that in a sentence, 4 apples per $1. Now the other way around is $2 for 8 apples, which would give me $1 for 4 apples. So we would get, I guess the best way to say this, yeah, you'd get $1 for 4 apples. The biggest thing here is just making sure that you're using it in the right order to make sure that you've got a good understanding of that. Okay, so any questions, let me know. Otherwise, great work, and I will see you in class. Thanks, guys.